With independent India turning 75 this year, we take on a journey of 75 iconic moments in Indian sports, starting from 1947 till today. But as we begin our story, here's something to remember. Sports wasn't a priority immediately after independence. There were millions to rehabilitate following the partition, and basics like food, health and housing took precedence over recreation. Despite that, India witnessed many path-breaking moments in the first 4 decades of its independence, from dominance in hockey to a rare medal at the Olympics in an individual event, and then the big bang in cricket when India became the world champions. Here are moments 1 to 25 in a chronological order.
Hockey had fetched India 3 Olympic gold medals before the independence, but the supremacy remained undefied post-1947 too. There was no Dhyan Chand in that team, but there were other stars who ensured that India remained unbeaten right till the end, adding another gold at the London Olympics in 1948. The first official Asian Games were organized in New Delhi in 1951, a historic moment for the country. The National Stadium in the capital hosted participants from 8 nations who competed in 9 disciplines. The Games were not just a tool to bring sporting nations to India, but also a show of strength that India had arrived. Kasaba Jadhav or KD Jadhav became the first individual medalist of independent India at the Olympic Games. He won the wrestling bronze medal in the bantamweight category at the 1952 Helsinki Olympics. It took India 15 tests to register their first win after independence. Vijay Hazare led the Indian team against England in a 5-test series, with the first 3 ending in draws, while England won the 4th match before India bounced back to win the 5th and final test in Madras by an innings and 8 runs. At the 1956 Olympics in Melbourne, Indian team scripted history, becoming the first Asian team to make it to the semi-finals of an Olympic Games, and en route also defeated host Australia 4-2. India's supremacy continued in hockey, with the team winning their 6th gold in Olympics, this one in 1956. For the first time, an Indian became a world champion in any sport, and the man to do that was Wilson Jones, who won the World Billiards Championship in 1958 and reclaimed that title again in 1964. One of the most iconic moments in Indian sports, 73 seconds, remained a national record for more than 40 years. For Indians, making it to the main draw of any Grand Slam singles event has always remained a tough nut to crack. But here was Ramanathan Krishnan, who not only played the Wimbledon but also reached the semi-finals in 1960. Till date, he remains the only Indian to do so. The Indian football team had won a gold medal at the 1951 Asian Games at home, but to replicate that performance 11 years later at the same event in Jakarta was another historic feat. India's domination in world hockey continued as they won a 4th straight gold medal after independence at the 1964 Tokyo Olympics. Never before had India won a test series overseas until Mansoor Ali Khan Pataudi's men travelled to New Zealand in 1968. The Indian team registered an emphatic 3-1 series win. Beating England in England is not something that happens often, but the Indian team made it happen in 1971 when Ajit Wadekar's team beat England 1-0 in a 3-test series. The world witnessed the arrival of a batting genius in Sunil Manohar Gavaskar. Against the famed pace attack of the West Indies, Gavaskar made a memorable debut with 774 runs in the series, which still remains a record for any batsman in a debut series. Perhaps one of the most important tennis matches to have never been played. This was 1974 when India made it to the final of the Davis Cup, where they were scheduled to play South Africa. The Indian government did not allow the team to compete, and the players were forced to boycott the final since South Africa was under the apartheid rule. While Indian hockey was a dominant force at the Olympics, a gold in World Cup remained elusive. In 1975, Ajit Pal's team ended that wait as India defeated Pakistan in the final to win their first and only gold medal in a Hockey World Cup. More than 65 nations boycotted the Moscow Olympics in 1980 following Soviet Union's invasion of Afghanistan in 1979. India, however, did participate and won a gold with only 5 participating teams. That was the 8th and the last gold in hockey for India in an Olympic Games. Prakash Padukone, the first Indian to win one of the most prestigious badminton tournaments in the world, the All England Championships in 1980. He remained the only Indian to lift that title for more than 2 decades. The Asian Games returned to India after a gap of 4 decades when Delhi hosted 33 nations. It still remains the last Asiad that were hosted in India. Kapil Dev and his men turned a new leaf in Indian cricket when they defied all odds to upstage favourites West Indies in the final to win the 1983 World Cup. The moment and the team became immortal, and for India, cricket was never the same thereafter.
Always the victory sink in much later than what you think. You know, it was just another day and another victory. But now when we look back, every day we enjoy more. We went to the dressing room of West Indies team. They congratulate us and they said, well done, Kapil, Clive said. And we said, sorry guys, it happens in life.
Don Bradman was the pinnacle in cricket, and in 1983 Sunil Gavaskar became the first cricketer to go past the legendary Australians record of 29 Test hundreds. The 1984 Los Angeles Olympics was the closest that India came to winning a medal in a track event. P.T. Usha missed out on a bronze by 1/100th of a second to finish 4th in the 400-meter hurdles final. 2 years after lifting the World Cup, Indian cricket saw another high at the World Championship of Cricket in Australia, where top 7 nations participated. India remained undefeated throughout the ODI tournament and beat Pakistan by 8 wickets in the final to win another coveted trophy. P.T. Usha had an illustrious career, but at the Asian Games, she would run like a dream. The 1986 Asian Games witnessed the best of P.T. Usha, and she won 4 gold medals and a silver in Seoul. It had to be Sunil Gavaskar, the first man to scale the 10,000 run mark in Test cricket. The little master, as he was popularly known, made it happen in Ahmedabad with a late cut of Pakistan's Ijaz Faki in 1987.
The first half of our journey was about how not commerce but patriotism and nationalism that drove India's success on the sporting pitch. But as the country's fortunes began to change, riding on the new wave of privatization, so did India, showing in the world of sports. The new millennium brought with it the winds of change, and finally the country moved beyond the Olympic ideals of mere participation and began to focus on winning.
In 1987, Chetan Sharma scripted history by becoming the first bowler to take a World Cup hat-trick. This was also the first instance of an Indian taking a hat-trick in any format of the game. Vishwanathan Anand was just 19 when he became the first Grandmaster from India in 1988. That was just the start of a legendary career during which Anand scaled new heights and on his way inspired many to follow him. A young boy just 16 years of age made his international debut in 1989 against Pakistan that boasted of one of the most lethal bowling attack. Sachin Tendulkar went on to become a colossus in world cricket with umpteen records in a career spanning close to 24 years. The greatest all-rounder for India, Kapil Dev, went past Richard Headley's record of 431 test wickets in 1994. By the time he ended his career the same year, he was the leading wicket taker in the world with 434 test wickets. Leander Paes ended India's 44-year wait for an individual Olympic medal at the Atlanta Games in 1996. Pace had injured his wrist before the bronze medal match but decided to go ahead, and he came back from a set down to win India's first and only Olympic medal in tennis so far. In the chilly Delhi winters of 1999, Anil Kumble became only the second bowler ever to pick up a 10-wicket haul in Test cricket. Pakistan, in pursuit of a victory target of 420 runs, began well before Kumble struck them down one after the other. He ended with 10 for 74, only the second time the world had witnessed something like this since 1956, when England's Jim Laker took all 10 wickets in an innings. The first time India got a taste of victory at a Grand Slam event was in 1999, and the men to make that happen were Leander Pace and Mahesh Bhupathi when they won the doubles title at the French Open. It was the start of a journey that every Indian fan enjoyed, as the two went on to become the most celebrated tennis duo in India. India lifted their maiden Under-19 World Cup title in 2000. The likes of Mohammad Kaif and Yuvraj Singh became stars overnight and then went on to represent India at the senior level too. Karna Malleshwari became the first Indian female to win an Olympic medal. Malleshwari won a weightlifting bronze at the 2000 Sydney Games. VVS Lakshman and Rahul Dravid staged an epic fight back against Australia at the Eden Gardens when India were asked to follow on. The two shared a 376-run stand, and India registered a famous victory which many believe changed the face of Indian cricket. Pulela Gopichand ended a wait of more than 20 years to emulate Prakash Padukone to become India's second player to win the All England Championships in 2001. A young duo of Yuvraj Singh and Mohammad Kaif, who were still trying to find their feet in international cricket, made a historic run chase against England to win the NatWest Trophy final in 2002. Anju Bobby George earned the biggest prize for India in athletics in 2003. The long jumper won a bronze in the World Athletics Championships in Paris and remained the only Indian to do so until recently. India registered their first ever series win against Pakistan in 2004. The three-match series, in which Rahul Dravid led India in the first two tests before Sourav Ganguly took over in the last, ended 2-1 in India's favour. Virender Sehwag laid the foundation of India's epic series win on Pakistan soil with a maiden triple century in the Multan Test. Sehwag smashed 309 runs to become the first triple centurion from India and also help his team win the first test by an innings and 52 runs. India had so far won just bronze medals in individual events at the Olympic Games, but Rajyavardhan Singh Rathore won the first ever silver medal for India. The Army man finished at the second position in men's double trap event at the Athens Olympics. India got its first ever Formula One driver when Narayan Karthikeyan competed for the Jordan team at the Australian Grand Prix in 2005. Yuvraj Singh set the stage on fire and brought the maiden World T20 alive with 6 sixes in an over of England's Stuart Broad. The all-rounder was the first man to do it in T20 internationals and played a crucial role in India's success at the tournament. T20 cricket was never the same after the World T20 in 2007, when India became the inaugural champions with a nail-biting win against Pakistan in the final. Vishwanathan Anand won the Unified World Chess Championship in a format where the top 8 players competed against each other. Anand was the only player to remain undefeated throughout the event in Moscow in 2007. For Indian sports, Abhinav Bindra's gold medal at 2008 Beijing Olympics was a watershed moment. An Indian at the top of the podium in an individual event was something unheard of, but Bindra made that happen in the 10-meter air rifle event. 2008 Beijing Olympics, including Vijender's bronze. Cricket's foray into a new world began with the start of the Indian Premier League in 2008, which saw players going under the hammer for the first time as franchisees splurged millions to buy cricketers. Sachin Tendulkar continued to break boundaries and achieved another first when he scored a double hundred in an ODI game against South Africa in Gwalior. India got an opportunity to showcase itself to the sporting world when Delhi hosted the 2010 Commonwealth Games for the first time in the country. India's own performance as hosts was the best ever as they finished at the second position with 101 medals.
The final chapter of our story showcases how a nation not renowned for its sports internationally raises its standards so dramatically that they no more constitute the also-rans. In fact, they begin to set benchmarks for others to follow. Whether it was Sachin's 100 hundreds or Neeraj Chopra's Olympic gold in track and field, Indian sports' latest phase has entered into the realms of the unimaginable.
The Formula One Jamboree arrived in India for the first time in 2011 and the Buddh International Circuit became an international name after it hosted the Indian Grand Prix for 3 successive years.
Absolutely magnificent. Dhoni finishes off in style.
Another long wait for India came to an end when MS Dhoni's Men in Blue lifted the 2011 World Cup at the Wankhede Stadium.
President of the ICC. The party begins in Mumbai.
ये मोमेंट मेरे लिए काफ़ी इमोशनल थी और जब मुझे काफ़ी प्लेयरों से वही रिएक्शन मिली कि वो मेरे लिए खेलना चाहते, मेरे लिए जीतना चाहते.
Sunil Chhetri, one of the best that Indian football has ever seen, became the highest goal scorer for the country, going past another legend, Ian Vijayan's record of 29 goals in 2011.
Works it away and that is it.
Sachin Tendulkar added another feather to his illustrious cap when he reached the 3-figure mark against Bangladesh in 2012, making him the first and only batsman to score 100 international centuries.
It is the milestone. What a day for India, what a day for international cricket, what a day for international cricket fraternity.
If Beijing was good, London Olympics were even better, with wrestler Sushil Kumar leading the front. Sushil won a silver medal, becoming the only Indian ever to win 2 Olympic medals in individual event.
South Sudan.
India had a record medal haul at the 2012 London Olympics, winning 6 medals from shooting, boxing, badminton and wrestling.
For India,
Ashwin, 6 in the bank.
2 years after winning the ODI World Cup, India added another ICC trophy to its cabinet, with MS Dhoni once again leading the team to a title win at the Champions Trophy in 2013. India opener Rohit Sharma was developing into an ODI great, and his 264 against Sri Lanka in 2014 added to his legacy. It still remains the highest individual score in an ODI. The Indian men's kabaddi team won a record 7th gold at the Asian Games. Since the introduction of the sport at the Asian Games in 1990, India had won gold in every edition. Saina Nehwal suffered a brief slump in her career but came back strongly in 2015 to be crowned world #1 in women's singles, the first female shuttler from India to achieve that milestone. In 2015, India had another world #1 in women's doubles when Sania Mirza became the first Indian female tennis player to achieve that milestone.
that's a joy for Hingis and Mirza, Sania Martina. That's a despair. Kusala Venkata Sindhu. Olympic.
PV Sindhu's silver medal at the Rio Olympics made her the first Indian female athlete to win a second position on the Olympic podium.
The feet is hard to take in the wrestling.
India managed only 2 medals at the Rio Olympics, and Sakshi Malik won a bronze, becoming the first Indian female wrestler to win an Olympic medal.
Won that right at the very end.
It was a time when Virat Kohli was in a league of his own and no one came close to him. At the 2016 IPL, Virat ended the season with an astonishing 973 runs, a record that no one has been able to come close to. Harmanpreet Kaur played one of the best ODI innings in women's cricket when she plundered 171 runs against Australia in the 2017 World Cup semi-final.
That is a magnificent effort by Harmanpreet. It's only the 15th score.
In 2018, the legendary MC Mary Kom added another golden chapter to her legacy, becoming the first and only boxer to win 6 world titles. Winning against Australia in Australia was a dream that Virat Kohli and his team realized in 2019 when they won the 4 Test series to 1. This was India's first ever Test series win on Australian soil. PV Sindhu continued to grow in stature and achieve the status of being the best in the world. The Indian shuttler won the World Badminton Championship title in 2019, a historic moment in Indian sports.
Not going to be easy. Oh, they bowled on the...
One of the greatest Test series wins for India came in 2021. With players dropping out with injuries one after the other, the Indian team defied all odds to win their second successive series down under. India's medal drought from hockey at the Olympic Games finally ended in 2021 at Tokyo. Manpreet Singh led the team to a bronze, India's first Olympic medal in hockey after 41 years. The greatest moment in the history of Indian sports came at the Tokyo Games, when Neeraj Chopra won India's first Olympic track and field gold. It was also India's second ever individual goal at the biggest stage in sports.
मुझे भी ऐसा लग रहा था कि मतलब अंदर से एक वो था रोंगटे खड़े कर देने वाला मोमेंट था वो, लेकिन आंखों से आंसू तो नहीं आए, लेकिन हाँ पर अंदर से जोश बहुत था उस टाइम पे, मतलब मैं बता नहीं सकता, बहुत ही ज्यादा जोश था.
India had their best ever Olympic Games in terms of medals as they finished with 7 medals, 1 gold, 2 silver and 4 bronze medals. At the start of this year, India had achieved what many thought may not be possible. The men's team won the Thomas Cup, considered the World Cup of badminton, one of the most iconic and historic moments in Indian sports. Neeraj Chopra's legacy continued to reach new heights and he became the first Indian after Anju Bobby George to win a medal at the World Athletics Championships. His javelin throw silver was a first for India at the event.
From Dhyan Chand to Neeraj Chopra, from C.K. Naidu to Virat Kohli via Sunil Gavaskar and Sachin Tendulkar. This was our sporting tribute to India at 75. Here's wishing all our viewers a very happy Independence Day. Until next time, bye-bye.